All right. Good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock in Eastern.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of
Happy
our American friends.
Thanksgiving. Yes. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thursday.
That's right. It's almost the weekend. Happy
It,
day before Black Friday.
yeah, it's definitely different this year than normal years with Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and everything.
hmm
Did I just go out of focus for you?
You did.
Come on, camera. Well, I'm going to
Yeah.
fix it. There we
There it
go.
is. Yep. So,
All right. So, welcome, everyone. As you know, the one and only Ryan Smith is in the house today. Um,
exactly.
so before I give Ryan the floor, Ryan I met virtually about 4 months ago, 5 months ago,
Probably. Yeah.
and then physically in September we finally met and met through an organization or an event that we both have the T-shirt on today. So you're
hmm
welcome, Steve. Um, but yeah, I was drawn to Ryan as just a solid human who was just interesting to talk to. And Ryan, you've been he has been an inspiration to me in the last few months that we've known each other. I mean, since the event we went to, we've talked almost every day.
hmm
Um, and so through one of our non-sponsor sponsors, Signal app, check it out.
That's right.
um,
Yeah.
so, and Ryan, you do something that is new to me or my world,
hmm
and it's you're a private advisor to the world's elite. That's what it says on your website.
Right. So what does that mean, right?
Yeah. Who
Yeah.
who are you and what does that mean?
Yeah. So for me, I've been in I guess the human performance world, whether it be dealing with the physical aspects of it or the mental aspects of it for 31 years now. So I started when I was in undergraduate college and basically was a working with a bachelor's in exercise science, and it's kind of expanded out from there. So I've
Okay.
worked with a little bit of everybody from uh, professional athletes to executives to um, medical professionals and entrepreneurs and worked everything. A lot of people try to call it in the coaching world, and I used to call it a coach, but
Okay.
that world is so um, watered down and diluted anymore that like I kind of refuse to call myself a coach because it's not just about coaching anymore. There's so much more to it. So I advise on any number of things, and yeah, I guess that's and who's the elite? Who if you consider yourself elite, I'll probably work with you.
There you go.
Right.
And Ryan and I were talking about that word elite the other day,
hmm
and oftentimes the word elite is addressed to like you got lots of money or you're like in a certain class level in
hmm
society. And Ryan was working on something. He sent it to me to look at, and when you did that, I could definitely see how some people could think, "Oh, you got to be the top tier, blah blah blah, whatever." But I actually read it differently. I read it because I may not be what the world calls elite, but I know that I'm elite. I feel elite in the things that I do. And when I say that, there's a lot of people that classify as the elite class
hmm
are very strict of their time and who's in their circles and where their time is going and where they're spending their money, their time, their friends, their family.
hmm
And so that's why I identify with the word elite because I've especially after the last couple of years, I'm very hoarding I'm very protective of my time
Right.
and my circles. And I think that's one of the things that you kind of work with people on. And one of
hmm
the things that you use the word private is you're big into the privacy side of your clients.
Right. Yep. So privacy, security, and trust are kind of the three pillars that I work with for people, right? So most people do not want to be on somebody's email list. They don't want to get your free thing that you're handing out as a lead magnet. They don't, though the elite doesn't want to get caught into what the vast majority of people do.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. So you also do some veterinarian stuff.
Yep. So yeah, so my partner is a veterinarian, and she and I have a business called Veterinary Coaching, even though I, again, don't necessarily like the word coach, but again, it's what do you do and who do you do it with, right? So it's really easy to identify the brand as that. But as a veterinary professional, she said, I was kind of shifting from some things that I was doing, and she's like, well, why don't we take the skills that you do and apply it to my profession? And so for 6 years, we've been working a lot with veterinary professionals, whether it be the young professionals or the ones that are looking at how do they transition. And there's a lot of stress, a lot of depression, a lot of things that happen in that world as well. So we do a lot with the veterinary world too, because the animals need good people to take care of them.
Yeah, and that's what I love is I didn't actually know that was a thing. Where like it makes sense, and when you explained it, and as you hear more about it, it's like veterinarian coaching. Like what? They just take care of animals. What do you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of, I'm what I consider an inside outsider. So I'm not a veterinary professional, but I'm inside of the industry. So I get to, right. So I get to see things, and I get to see things through a different lens than what most of the people in the industry see. So it's kind of works.
yeah, no, that's awesome. And so let's talk about what does Ryan do not when he's doing private coaching or advising and veterinary stuff. Because I also know you work in a gun shop for fun.
Yeah, it's playtime. Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah. So I work at a local gun store, just doing, um, you know, just being. I'm somebody that grew up around guns. I shot competition in high school, college, sometime way back, and I've done some cowboy action shooting and some different things like that. So it was just something that I had. And I was looking for something because with COVID, being home all the time, because I used to go to either coffee shops and work, or I got a private club up in Indianapolis that I'll go and do some stuff. But when COVID hit, was home all the time, and I was going crazy. So I needed to get out and needed to do something. So what better playtime fun thing is to do, is to be work at a gun shop. And yeah,
Yeah,
so that was it. So yeah, everything from, again, it's kind of, and a lot of times it is that advising and coaching for a lot of people. What is it that you need? Why are you choosing? Why are you thinking about, why you come in, you're thinking about this one particular thing, why? And let's get you in the right direction versus following the masses.
yeah. When I love that about people that take a skill from something else and apply
Hmm.
it to a different world. It's like, I mean, if used car salesmen started like learning the techniques of coaching
Hmm.
versus just straight selling,
Hmm.
and actually, you have a lot more happy customers than just that greasy salesman guy over there.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
And
It's
so go ahead.
No, and I think it's just that, yeah, that idea of, I pigeonhole myself into this, and I only know I get these skills of, right. So you've read Cialdini's influence, and here you're taking all these things and you're using it to manipulate people into doing something else or something that you want them to do, which is, in some ways, I liken it to the world of the pickup artist as well, right? It's the
Yeah,
how do I manipulate people into thinking that I'm something that I'm not, or to do something that I want them to do that they weren't necessarily ready to do, and that's a very unethical thing to do. And I love influence, and I love talking about all of those things, and how do we influence people to make them better versus just influencing them to, or trying to artificially manipulate people into doing something, right?
yeah, definitely. And I want to hit more on that influence word here in a second. But first, we got to say what's up to Jesse. What's up, Jesse? Thanks for joining us this
Mm.
morning.
Hey, Jesse.
We're happy to see you here. If anyone else is out there, I don't know if you are because it's depending on where you're at. It's 6 o'clock in the West Coast, which I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people there. But we figured, hey, it's day 50 of 100 days of awesome. So I can't do it on day 49 or day 51. That'd be ridiculous.
Right.
Clearly. And so we do it a little bit in the morning. If anyone joins, they join. If not, we have a
Right.
great conversation.
Exactly. Right. That's what it's all about. They just get to be a fly on the wall of two awesome people.
Exactly. we
No,
we are we are awesome and humbled, definitely.
humble, absolutely.
So let's pull that thread a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So awesome for me is a very special word. It is something that my sister-in-law who passed last year, um, she used in her life. And awesome has always been a word like a lot of people say it comes and goes.
Hmm.
Is big in like the the 80s is like tubular, awesome, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then, hey, what's up, Lucas? Thanks for joining, man. Um, but for me, awesome became really special when my sister-in-law, so she died last year of cancer, and it was her third round of cancer. So she had it for years, and but something she did in life was always touch people and be a positive impact to them, like that influence. She
Hmm.
was that positive influence to everyone around her. And what I loved, one thing she did, and we have videos of this because we caught her one time doing it at a restaurant. She would go to restaurants, and when you give your name to like you order food and like, oh yeah, what's your name to call? And Sarah, Ryan, Matt,
Hmm.
she would give the name I am awesome. And then what would happen is and it was always funny to see the servers' reactions. They would
Hmm.
look at this ticket and be like, I am awesome. Are you here? I am awesome. And she would scream back, yes, you are. So it's really cool. And especially over the past year and everything going on, that's been a word that's really stuck with
Hmm.
my family and my wife's family and such. And then so that's why I started and then I never realized that I actually used the word awesome in a lot of my videos
Hmm.
until people started saying like, "Hey, Matt, be awesome," and I was like, "Why does everyone keep saying that?" Like, because you say it every day. Like,
Right.
oh, weird. I mean, I say it enough that my lovely wife had this stamp
Yeah,
made,
that's right.
um, and so awesome has kind of become part of my brand.
Right.
And but that cuts over to you. We were talking a few month or two ago,
Yeah. At the
and you
speakeasy. Yeah.
at the speakeasy. But then, like a couple weeks later, you pitched an idea to me, and I want to talk about how you got there and where that came from.
Yeah. So a couple years ago in our veterinary coaching business, we ran something, and I don't even remember where I got it from. Probably picked it up off of some other social media thing or something, but it really kind of hit home with us was we was this thing called 100 Days of Awesome. And really what it is it's just 100 days of finding things awesome in your life. So it's about gratitude, about looking through a different lens for different things. But it's much more than that to me. And this was we were talking about it even before I knew the story about your sister-in-law, right? So that was
Yeah,
we were because you say awesome, and I was like, okay, this was that pulled it back to what we had done with 100 Days of Awesome. That's when I pitched it to you.
yeah,
But yeah, it's for me, it's really it's a neuroscience thing. It's a habit thing. It's people talk about mindset, and right. So mindset is one thing, and I think mindset is for most people is BS. I think the word mindset for most people it's just an overused term. Again, it's in that coaching world, it's
sure,
gets used there, but mindset is less about. I know some people that have great mindsets that are that never make anything out of themselves, right? They have a great mindset, but they just never do anything with it. And there's some people that have a really poor mindset that are really successful as well. So I don't think it's about mindset. I think it's about mind control and mind discipline, not mind control in an MK Ultra
yeah,
Manchurian candidate kind of way, but I think it's about mind discipline and mind habits. And what that does is that 100 Days of Awesome, whether it's you as the person who's doing it or the person listening to it, it's about um, it's about a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, which is goes back millions and millions of years, and it's about finding seeing things in a different light, or like right. So if caveman Matt is walks out of his cave in the morning, he's walking down to the creek with his gourd so he can get water for the day, and he does it every single day, and he goes down, gets his water, walks back to the cave, and then one day he hears something rustle behind the bush. Right, that is like then that kicks in fight, flight, or freeze kind of part, right? So it's novelty. It's something, seeing something different. So because the search image is always the same, and then you see the something a little bit different, and your brain picks up on it.
Yeah.
Same reason why now you say, hey, I'm going to go, I'm looking, I have X car, I'm looking at buying X car, and nobody else has X car until you get out there and then you start seeing everybody has X car, right? It's because that same part of your brain kicks in. So when you're doing 100 Days of Awesome, it makes you physically look for or mentally look for the awesome things and things that you wouldn't normally find it. So you're training the brain to look for better things.
Well, I love that, especially because you didn't tell me any of that when you pitched it to me. You just said, hey, we did this thing. You should do it. I was like, okay.
Right. Yep. And yeah, and who else would do it other than Mohawk Matt? Because, everything is awesome, which is also a great song in a Lego movie.
It is a great song. I do play that from time to time when I'm doing like team building or facilitation in between exercises. And it's hilarious because everyone identifies that song with the Lego movie and for kids. And I'm talking to 40, 50-year-old adults and
they know the words.
Yeah, they know every word for word. So everyone, if you're just joining now, thanks for joining. Super excited to be here with my good friend Ryan Smith. We're just talking about what we've talked a little bit about so far about who he is, what he does. Right now, we're kind of talking about the 100 Days of Awesome, which I'm going to start sharing. I'm in day 50 of 100 Days of Awesome, and it is when I started this 50 days ago. I was like, how long ago? 50, obviously. Yeah. 50, well, actually, it's 51. I won't lie.
Yeah.
There was one day I was burnt, so I just posted a picture of me asleep. Because what was very interesting. So when I started this, and when Ryan pitched this to me, I was like, great, sounds like a cool idea. And so I was thinking, well, how do I do it for me? And for me, I'm all about video. I do a lot of video, and that's how I portray. I come off the best. That's my platform. Videos, because it's my mannerisms. I can write, but I'm not great at it. And you can't get my Mohawk doesn't come over writing. You gotta get full emphasis.
Right. It's the shape of the words on the page.
Exactly. Just like that. Perfectly. And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to do 100 Days of Awesome. I'm going to do 100 videos, one video a day. And whilst even people that do a lot of video have told me like, oh yeah, I could do that. No problem. I'd be curious to see everyone try, because it's actually a lot, especially around, and I didn't figure out why until someone pointed out to me. Around like day 17 and 18, I was burnt. I was hurting. I was like, this is a lot. And even though I pre-recorded a lot of them still, and a couple days in advance, it was still like, oh my gosh, here we go. And then on day 22, I was like, why? Like, I feel really good. I was like, why? And I was talking to my cousin, or they were in town, and she was like, well, it takes 21 days to build a habit. So your body was just fighting that you're about to make a new habit. So you're just like, okay, are you going to stay? You're going to break through that wall? Or you're going to fall back.
Right.
And once she mentioned that, I was like, that makes sense. That's why I felt like I was going to die.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The brain likes doing things the old way. It doesn't like doing things a new way. And it takes a while to build that highway, right? So it's like goes from a dirt road to a gravel road to a side road to ultimately and a 2-lane road into a highway, right? So it's and it takes a while to get there. You don't build those roads overnight.
No, that is true. And so as I kind of kept going, and for me, when I started this, I was like, hey, what am I going to do this on? And I know I'm not gonna lie, after like day 10, I got in my head a little bit, because a lot of people that I'm around lately, the last few months. I mean, a year ago, I didn't know anyone that did a podcast or recorded videos. Now almost everyone I know does. And it's not, COVID has a part to play in it, but all of these people have done it for years. I'm just now in those circles. Right. I'm just now around the people that are doing it. And so what happened was I started watching them a little bit too much, and like, oh, I can be like that. in my head. I was like, oh, I got to have like the perfect thing. There's a couple I've recorded. I was like, this is going to drop. This is going to connect with so many people. And this is going to be, I'm going to get people to cry. And like, this is going to be, because it means a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it did horrible, absolutely horrible. And as far as metrics go and engagement wise, and then there was one day, it happens often, but one day I was like, I got to throw something out. It was like 5:00 at night. I'm walking the dogs, pull my phone out, record for 45 seconds. And it was about IT because my mom had just called me, said, hey, how do I set up Apple TV? And it was just like, hey, is anybody else out there do IT for your family? You're like the IT specialist for everyone. Mm-hmm. And it was like the lamest thing ever. And it's the best video I've had. And it's funny how that works. It's like as you build things, as you plan things, if you're like, oh, this is exactly it, it may not be what people are going to identify with. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that I've been learning on the 100 Days of Awesome now at day 50 is one, when I went into it, I was like, well, I'm just going to document. Some of these are going to be good days. Some of them are going to be bad days. And that I didn't realize how much that would connect with people. Like I've had videos. I did a video when I was in the ER for kidney stones a couple weeks ago. I've done videos where I'm not feeling good, and I actually got a lot of feedback from those because they're real.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not the fake. And I'm not saying none of my stuff's ever scripted. If you've known me for 10 minutes, I don't plan anything. Me and Ryan decided to go live. I told him 2 days ago. And so it's not, for me, it's not an over planning, but it's an over thinking or just doing it.
Right.
And so that's one of the big things that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that organic, right? So people connect with organic versus, right? It's versus the scripted things. You'll see people reading things off of a screen. You'll see their eyes just kind of move, and I lose it, right? So they're sitting there, and it's, their energy is not right. There's not, you just don't connect with it. It's just a message, but not a message with feeling. Whereas this conversation or you just taking it out and you recording 45 seconds, that's real, and the people that need to connect with it will find it and listen to it, and it might not be, and maybe it's just bad timing too, right? So it's not the fact that the ones that you think are going to connect with a lot of people, it's just bad timing. Maybe it was you posted it at a time when nobody saw it.
Yeah, well, and that's I think important to note too, as people are out there, if you're doing video content or sending an email, anything you do, people aren't going to receive it in the mood that you send it in. Mm-hmm. And so I love that you hit on that, because just because I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Yes. Oh, send, boom, post. And everyone else in the world could be like pissed off. And so they're like, this dude's an idiot.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and if they're pissed off, that's not your audience at that moment anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That is something I've learned too, though, is I never realized, and I learned this past year before 100 Days of Awesome, but especially with all these videos, I never realized the power that you can touch people and not know in a way that, like, and that's something I want to add as words of encouragement for anyone out there that's like, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to do social media or content creation of sorts for your life, business, or even just for fun, don't fret. I don't know if fret's the right word. Don't worry if no one's liking or commenting. Just keep going. It's because, like, the metrics I set are not the likes. They're not the reactions. They're not the comments. The metrics that matter to me, one, is me doing it because I freaking love it and it's fun. I actually started learning, like, before 100 Days of Awesome, I would do like 3-4 videos a week. So it wasn't too crazy to do one every day. But then the weeks I was like slammed and didn't do any at all, I was actually depressed. Like, and then but I didn't realize it until I did a video. I was like, oh, that's it. I need to do a video every day because it gives me energy. Even if I don't post it, it's just something I love. So definitely, if you love doing it, just keep doing it, but don't fret about the not getting anything, because what I've learned, and Ryan, you hit too perfectly, was that you're going to connect with people in different ways. and 49 of the 50 videos may not connect with someone, but that number 50 may. And just keep going, because you're gonna reach them. And even if you don't think you reach them, people send me messages. The metrics that I feed off of are the behind the scenes messages, because a lot of people aren't comfortable posting comments, especially if it hit them. If it, like, actually hit them to their core. Most people don't respond publicly, and so it was really powerful to start seeing all this behind the scenes stuff. And Lucas, who might still be on here, but was on here a minute ago, he was one of the people that reached out to me and said, "Hey, I just like keep the videos going. It's like the best part of my morning." And just that energy and that thing. And so you never know who's watching. That's kind of where my short to long story turn is. Just be yourself and keep going, because someone's going to identify with that.
Exactly. And that's why, in the podcast, I've had a couple of podcasts, and one in the fitness world and one in the veterinarian world. And they were great, and they do take a lot of energy, but, and I don't know, we had probably 60, 70 episodes or something like that. And some were interviews and some were just little short clips and different things that we had on the podcast. But for most people, when they do a podcast, right, they stop after 6, 7, 10 episodes because they haven't like made it. Right. And that's not, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to start getting people's attention until, you're 50, 60, 70 podcasts in. Do people even like start to really hear you or see your podcast?
Yeah. Well, even I know someone he's almost to 300 episodes, and I classified him as like making it based on what I had seen in his traffic. And then he pointed out on a graph the other day that he posted that he thought he was like not making it.
Right.
It's that perception as well of just keep going and you'll hit it.
Yep. And what's the point, right? So what's the point of why you're doing it? So some of these people, they think they're going to get into podcasting because it's going to make them famous, or because they're going to bring in sponsors, or, they see the Tim Ferrisses and the Joe Rogans and the people that have been doing it for a long time. And they're going to have all these amazing sponsors that are going to come on and pay them millions of dollars and have affiliate marketing and all of these things, which is, for the most part, is not going to happen in podcasting or video or any of those things.
Yeah. People that make money from podcasts already are making money.
Right.
Most of the time. There's a very small percentage that actually make profit. Because most of the people I'm a company. If I'm a company, I'm not going to give money to Mohawk Matt. I'm going to give money to Joe Rogan, because millions of people are going to hear it.
Right.
Versus my 7 fans.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And that goes back to, there was an article years ago on the Tim Ferriss effect, which was the shirt brand Mizzen in Maine. So instead of doing for them, small startup company, doing things different with shirts and, and the materials that they were using, they, instead of doing normal marketing, they bought time and on Tim Ferriss's podcast, right? And he has like a whole approval process, because it's like right? But the one time, so it ran multiple times, but the one time that they ran it, I mean, it was like their entire ad budget to be on his podcast. And I mean, like that was the thing that like launched their company, like was that Tim Ferriss effect. There's the Oprah effect and all those things, but in the podcasting world, it really was the Tim Ferriss effect for them, because it was clothing for men, and it's obviously there's a lot of men that listen to his podcast.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, and I think it's you hit on a great point of just it's the long game, and I argue that for anything on social, going viral is what a lot of people like want to hit. I got to go viral. Well, remember the term one-hit wonders? So, I mean, there's entire playlists on Spotify and Apple and stuff and Amazon that are one-hit wonders. And I go back and I'm like, those songs were only one hit. Yeah, I have no idea what that band even existed. Right. I only know that one song. And so going viral is, I mean, you probably have a whole perspective of that in the world that you work in mentally, but everyone like wants that and feeds off that. It really doesn't mean you're going to get anything.
Yep, absolutely. In the same world as like startup businesses, right? They think they're going to start up so that they can go and they can end up going public or they can get bought by another company, right? That's their long game and what they're thinking about versus why don't you just instead of worrying about that, why don't you just build a solid company and whatever happens, happens, right? So
Yeah.
play the long game on your business and see what happens from there. Don't go in with the hey, we're going to build this so that we can sell it for $100 million. Great if you do, but what happens if you don't? Don't you know?
Yeah.
Let's build just a quality company.
Well, and that's I'm going to turn that into the word happy and happiness because I have a good friend, Marine Gunnery Sergeant Brandon Smart. He's out in California now. I did a podcast with him recently, and he uses a metric, and it's not his. I can't remember what book or thing he got it from.
Mm-hmm.
And you may know it, but it's that happiness is the only metric that actually is sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are doing things because they make you happy, if you're making your team focus on happiness, not just burning things out and get this out deadline, meet this, meet this, meet this. But if you're really focused on happiness, nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you sell your company for $100 million, and you're not happy, then you're just going to try to find the next thing anyway. If you sell your company for $1 million and you love what you do, then you're going to be freaking over the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't sell it at all, to your
Right.
reference,
Yep.
then if you're happy doing it, then you're good to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. And actually, in throwing back, I don't know if it's from the reference that I'm thinking about, but there was a Australian dentist that wrote a series of books back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And the first book was called The Happiness Centered Business. And what it was is he was pretty much a solo practitioner dentist, and like his staff was stressed. He was stressed. He was making good money, and he was buying all the things, trying to do everything he could to make himself happy. But then it came in and it was really about rebuilding his business as a happiness centered practice. And when he was happy and his staff was happy, then he had the right clients that were willing to pay the money that he wanted, and it was, he took his name off the door, took the sign down off of his building, locked the front door. And the only way he works is by, he's retired now, but was by invitation or referral.
Okay.
And that's how I work too. I only work by invitation or referral. It's not like going out trying to market everything. It's not trying to be, everything to everybody, invitation and referral, which shrinks your database down pretty small, but the right people come into your world.
Yeah. So let me ask more on that. Is what value do you find over controlling who comes in versus just I'll take work from anybody? Because you can take work from all kinds of people no matter where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it comes down to the happiness and the impact that you get to make. It really comes down to, okay, when I surround myself, right? So Jim Rohn, the famous quote from Jim Rohn is, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? I think it goes beyond that. I think it's the 5 types of people, and it's like your team and your family and all, you're a coach and mentor, right? Your colleagues that are your tribe, right? So I think it comes down to the 5 types of people, not just the 5 people. But when you have the right clients and you serve the right people, the more of the right people come into your world. Some people can call it law of attraction. Some people can, whatever you want to call it. It's just when the right people that you're working with know more of the right people that that you want to work with, and they want to work with you as well, because those people are not hanging out with people that are not the right fit for you.
Correct.
Right. And the biggest compliment you can get is somebody trusting you enough to refer their friends to you as well.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, anytime you get someone to say, spend your money on this guy, that's a lot, especially today. There's so many things to spend. I could Google private advisor, probably find a million of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And most of them are in the financial world trying to sell you stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, right? And I come from that world too. I spent 10 years in that world. So I get that world, but I'm not a financial advisor, although sometimes I talk finance, but it's not that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, welcome everyone who's kind of joined.
Mm-hmm.
We're just having a conversation about why I've been doing 100 Days of Awesome and what Ryan does in the world of the mental game and all that kind of stuff. But you talked to something, Ryan, about, and if you're out there, if you're just joining, let us know you're here.
Mhm.
You shout out like, "What's up?" And thank you for coming because it is early, depending on where you are, and it's Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
But Ryan, you talked about a second ago on the people and being around the right people in the room. And in September, when we went to the Speakeasy, we'll both lean back for that nice clean shot. There we go. And so hosted by Steve Sims. And I'm not gonna. This isn't a commercial for him. You can Google it or ask me later, and I'll send you whatever you want on it. But we met up at this event, and there's something I'll never forget. When I first met you at the hotel bar, it was, "Hey, so why are you here?" And you were like, didn't care who was speaking. You're just like, "Man, I'm just so excited to be in the room with the right kind of people that want to be at this event."
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, talk more on that. That really intrigued me.
Yeah. So, right. Again, I think, again, in this world, and there's people from all different walks of life, right? So the vast majority of us were, whether we were truly entrepreneurs or not, we were all entrepreneurial minded. So there's some people that work for other people, but that doesn't mean that you're not an
One of
entrepreneur,
them.
right? Right. So it's the people that are looking to make the positive changes in their life, whatever that is, and right, and so everybody's going to glean something different from that event. So for me, it was 100% about the relationships, because number one, I'm not great at building long lasting relationships. Just that's one thing I know about myself, that I'm like, okay, as my world shifts and the people that were in it, sometimes I'll just let them go. And sometimes I think back and I'm like, hey, wait, who was that person? I don't even remember their name. So building the right relationships are key to longevity in business, right? So again, I don't need more training. I don't need more people telling me what I should do and all of
You have the right
those.
mindset, bro.
Exactly, right? So yeah, it's like while learning about social media, great, but that's not necessarily that's not how I think about it, right? So but being around people that I can connect with, and I can go, hey man, I'm having a down day, or this is the time of year, you and I were messaging about this the other day, this is the time of year for me for the next 5 weeks, and there's no like set explanation for it, but around the holidays is just a downtime for me. Like I don't have a lot of energy. I tend to be grumpy. I tend to be like, just everybody's like, stay the hell away from Ryan, because he's just not up. I don't have a ton of energy during this time of year. So we were talking about that the other day, and you're like, challenge accepted, dude, right? But
Whoa.
this is and the reason I want to be in a room with people like that is because of that, right? So it's not just I need to be out of my normal uh, mind control, the mind discipline that I fall into, right? So not the mindset, again, mind control and mind discipline. So what I told you that because I knew you were also going to be one of the people that would be, that would help to flip that.
Bring it, bro.
So
And that's something that I never realized I did either. I never realized how high energy I was until I started actually recording myself. Because for me, it's just who I am. It's my natural state. I get a lot of those questions like, "Hey, like, so how long did it take you to like prepare to like have this energy and practice?" Was like about 3 seconds.
yeah,
It's
7
just,
Red Bulls. No.
yeah, no, that would actually probably make me a little too crazy.
Yeah. We don't need Mohawk Matt on multiple Red Bulls. That would not be a good thing.
So I was like a promoter-ish of sorts of an energy drink company, and I would just give out free energy drinks at a club I worked at in Utah, and years ago, and it was called Buku. It's now since been under. But I used to drink probably 4 to 6 energy drinks in a 5-hour night period because I was giving them out, and so it was there.
Right.
And we gave them out in like we had the cans, but we gave them out in smaller doses. And so it's just like, oh, it's right there. Boom, boom, boom.
It's already open. I'll just finish it off.
Yeah. And then it was like a couple months later, I started like, why am I like so like jittery all the time? Like I'm just ready to go. And I was like, oh, it's because I drink like 7 and I used to drink a lot of Red Bull a day. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. So it's a wonder you're still with it. That's probably why you have kidney stones.
So potentially, yes, that's a good point. The first time I got kidney stones was after taking a migraine medication that gives you kidney stones.
Right.
When I was in the military, and military doctors do what they need to do to support, but they see so many people, they don't have the ability to like go really in depth. So they kind of use the
Right.
Band-Aid or just masses method.
Right. Yeah.
And so they just kept trying different pills on me. And one of them is the main side effect. We'll give you kidney stones. Oh, great. That's good. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that medicine didn't work for me anyway for the migraine. So what's up, Spence Cal? So we got Spence Cal joining us. If you're still
Spence.
there, Spence, what's up? Do you know Spence yet, Ryan?
I don't think so.
He's new to the Sims world and the speaking world. And I just went live with him last week because he was watching something that I commented on. And he was like, oh, yeah, I've made tons of videos, but I've never posted them. I just get too nervous because it's not the right thing. It's got to be perfect. And so I commented, I was like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Let's go live. And he's like, okay, let's do it. I guess I can't say no. You did it publicly. It's kind of that as a kid, like if someone double dares you or dares you, you're
right.
You're not going to do it.
Right.
You're not going to not do it. But like in a normal world, no, I'm good. If no one's watching, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And again, we get in our own head that, that the anxiety and the fears and all the things that happen, right? It's crazy how we talk ourselves out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a world that you spend a lot of time in is the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And something that may sound crazy, but Ryan, when we were at this event a few months ago, yeah, now you're laughing because you know exactly what's I'm going to say. I got a text message from someone that really sent me through the roof. And it wasn't so much the person, it was what they were trying to get me to do. And I have super, super high, or I had super high anxiety for test taking. I didn't do well as a kid with it all through school. It's one of the reasons I dropped out of college. I couldn't take the tests. And because like I start seeing, especially, bubble charts, I just start guessing and making pretty patterns. But even like word questions, like I get so confused. I just like black out. I'm like, oh, I'm done. And so that situation was happening. I was getting really frustrated because someone was trying to make me take this test that I didn't want to take. And talking to Ryan, he was like, have you ever done this? And I'm going to have Ryan explain it real quick, or a version of it. But it's something that if I wasn't in that room and in the right environment of people I was around and in a circle that I trusted you, I would have been like, you're smoking crack, dude. And I'm sure you probably get that a lot when you start talking about hypnosis.
Yep. So that's another world that I come from, and that actually came out of working with athletes, professional athletes, athletes that get injured and stuff. So I was like, okay, physically these people are ready. Why aren't they mentally ready? And you see this in professional, like watching professional sports all the time too, right? So why is somebody they blow a knee? They have trained, they've done all the things and are back, but they never return to their former glory, right? And really, and that all comes down to the brain, and the brain trying to be protective. So I'm like, how do I fix that? And that sent me on a journey down through neuroscience and hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming and all these things. So I have spent the last probably 10 years now studying a variety of forms of hypnosis and mental training. And so we spent what, 10 minutes and pretty much removed your test anxiety, and probably even less than 10 minutes. It's probably 5 minutes.
It wasn't
right. And that's why for most people, it's like they don't get anxieties over time. Anxiety is something that comes about pretty quick, and they get it pretty quick, which means that we can get rid of it pretty quick. You hang on to it for years, which means it seems like you've had it, that you got it for years, but no, it's pretty quick to get rid of it. And the brain knows what to do. You just don't overthink it. You just need somebody to guide you through it.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that helped me tremendously. I still haven't had to take that test, so we'll really, I'll really give you a testimonial once that day comes.
Yep. And we'll since you haven't put it under pressure, sometimes that stuff returns just because there's an old way of thinking for it. So we'll probably do a refresh before. Yeah, but
definitely. So before we go, as someone, not the hypnosis test, but just in general in your world of psychology, the brain, what are some tips of just things you've done a lot of this over the years that people can just kind of do to just have a better day, to help put themselves in a different mental state?
Yep. How you wake up is how you spend your day. That's the number one thing. So what you do in the morning, like your first hour of your morning, is what's going to set you up for your day. The biggest thing that I talk about is, so again, let's look at your routine. What do you get up when you from the moment you wake up and you open your eyes? What is the things that you do? For the vast majority of people anymore, they grab one of these things, right? They use this thing for an alarm clock, which then automatically turns them they're into social media, they're into their email, they're into whatever messages, things that came, right? When you do that, you have just now opened yourself up to what I call OPA. And OPA is other people's agendas, because all you've done now is instead of you taking control of your day, you've given it to other people.
Yeah.
So the best thing that you can do is get this thing out of your room, put it in another room, get a traditional alarm clock if you need an alarm clock.
They still make them, don't worry.
They do. You can buy them on Amazon pretty cheap right now. With Black Friday coming on, you can probably get one really, really cheap, because they want to sell clocks because there's a lot of them because nobody uses them anymore. But yeah, when you start falling prey to other people's agendas and start triggering that dopamine hit from the moment that you get in, which is notifications going off, getting the dopamine hit by seeing what people have commented on your social media, seeing what's going on your TikTok, whatever it is, you are now basically given the power away. So you don't have control for your morning or the rest of your day. And if something stresses you out, your day is not going to get better.
So is there a way to, am I hearing it that if you have a bad morning, you're hosed, or you just find different techniques to help you reset?
Yeah, I think so it's really hard to overcome a bad morning. It's really hard. You can do it, yes, but you never quite get the energy up. Like you get bad news or you find somebody stresses you out, it's really hard to recover. Yes, you can do it, but you need to be very, very intentional about it. And it's hard to maintain that intention for a long period of time. Yeah, I think how you do it though is there's a saying that says what gets measured gets changed. So you create a habit list and you stack it in the morning, or where you're like, okay, did I go without my phone for my first 30 minutes? Did I go without my phone for 10 minutes? And right, so you start with a 5 or 10 minute break and you start building on it from there, versus going, hey, I'm not going to have my phone for the first hour of the day. Come on, you're addicted to these things. You're not going to go without your phone for the first hour. Let's go 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I mean, that's what you see. That's what we're about to see for New Year's. Everyone starts that because they're like, I'm going to do everything. And then they hurt themselves. They burn themselves out on day 4 and they just crash.
Right. Yep. And there's a whole other series of neuroscience that we can talk about why that doesn't work. So yeah, we'll do that on another time.
There we go. Well, Ryan, I appreciate having you on today, and thanks for joining,
man. Happy Thanksgiving, man. You're awesome. I'm grateful to be here.
I appreciate that, and I'm grateful to know you and the friendship that we've created, and the monster that you've created with 100 Days of Awesome, both for me personally and what I have been getting from other people. Like I know of 4 people who are doing this in their own way. One guy is traveling the country, and so he took 100 days of awesome. He sold everything, and now he's just working from a RV, which a lot of people are doing now.
Yep.
And so he took 100 days of awesome, and he changed the words. He's doing the same thing. He's doing a video every single day, and he talks to me every couple of days, like, "Oh, this happened because this changed," and that's the biggest thing that I've learned from it is what I thought I was going to get out of this. I'm not getting out of it. I'm getting parts of it, but I'm getting more and different things. And it's training me to just keep going even and to share, to be. And I was already one that shared almost everything. If you talk to me for 20 minutes, I'll tell you my entire life story. So we do have one question from Spence though.
Okay.
Do you guys have a morning routine you like that sets up you for success? I'll have you start.
So I do, and actually I have to. I've fallen back into some bad habits, so I've got to go back to my sheet. So I actually have a morning routine sheet that I created that actually I mess with and kind of restack. I'll put what does my success look like, and I actually will go through and I will check it off because I'm really ADD when it comes to a lot of that stuff. So I actually have a morning routine that has like drink water, right? Because as humans, we have to remind ourselves to drink water because, why? Animals don't need that, but humans, we do because we overthink it. Right. So it actually goes through of all these different things that I need to do and plan out my day. And I do have a morning routine, but it needs to be revised right now, especially going into these last 5 weeks of the year that I typically don't do as well with.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's awesome that that you admit that, because a lot of people could say, "Oh yeah, no, I do this, this, and this," and they don't. And I think that's what points people out, successful people that really have control of their life. And I'm not saying people are out of control all the time, but you said it earlier. What was the term you used earlier? Other people's agendas, OPA.
OPA, other people's agendas.
And so controlling your morning routine puts you in control. And so for me, Spence, again, I'm in the same boat. I just lost all of mine because of the kidney stones. And so mine has been shot the last couple of weeks. But for me, the best routine is I wake up. As soon as I wake up, I do use my phone for my alarm, but I try not to. The days that go well, I don't look at it. I turn it off. I immediately stand up within 30 seconds and go take a cold shower, because then it wakes it. And if you've never done that, it's like the ice bath concept, really big right now. It just resets the body. It's like, good morning.
Right. Oh yeah. That's a whole other thing. I love that. I talk about, cold therapy. Yeah. Man, we can talk all kinds of stuff.
I know, we could do 12 podcasts on just you. And so for me, that's something I do. And then, I do social media for work. One of my roles there. And so after I've kind of done that, and I eat something that has protein in it, because that's what, growing up, it was always like, oh, if you're going to go take a test, if you're going to go, you got a quiz or something in school, go eat some eggs. And I always thought it was the eggs doing it. And then later I realized it was the protein doing it. And so if I don't eat protein in the morning, even like a protein shake or just some peanut butter, I feel deficient the entire day. And so I do jump on my phone after that, because I post for work before I go in, because once I get to the office, whether physically or virtually, I won't get it done. And so I have incorporated, but that's after my wake up routine. That's kind of starting into my work routine, kind of thing. But so that's what I do, Spence. And Spence also says he loves seeing my videos. So thanks, Ryan. So yeah, cool. Anyone that doesn't know, Ryan's the reason I do the 100 days of awesome every single day, or he inspired it anyway.
Right. Wait till I give you your next challenge when this one's done.
Yeah, give me like half an hour at least.
Yeah.
So everyone have an amazing day, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it's Thursday, whatever world country you're in, just have an awesome day. And Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
For sure. And everyone, be the reason someone else has an awesome day. I recorded a podcast 2 days ago with my 12-year-old niece, and she said, if you're having a bad day, don't make everyone else's day bad. Just go into your room, grab a teddy bear, and give it a big snuggle. So
I love it.
Be the reason someone has an awesome day. Ryan, hang on real quick.